If I ask you which is the most dangerous military force in the world, then it would be absolutely right if the name Navy SEALs comes to your tongue. These are soldiers who can jump through the air. They can stay in the water for hours and have the ability to turn even the most impossible mission into possible. So in this story, all of these Navy SEAL soldiers are sent on one such extremely dangerous mission. Now will all of them be able to complete this mission or not? Let's find out in today's story. So at the beginning of the story, Navy SEAL commandos jump from thousands of meters high in the dark night with parachutes and secretly enter enemy territory. Then after landing on the ground, their team immediately goes into alert mode. All communication happens through hand signals. Years of training have made them silent and controlled. The light falling and shifting across their faces makes a person feel the unique thrill of special forces. The commander reports the team's position to headquarters and calls in 2G special warships for support. And they have come here because the identity of a CIA female agent has been exposed and she has an important document related to the area's military forces in her possession, and even under severe torture the female agent has not revealed anything. The job of the special forces is to rescue her and extract her safely. At dawn, 2 military transport aircraft carry these 2 special warships to the target area, and as soon as they land on the ground, both special warships rapidly move toward enemy territory. Their job is to provide fire support to the Navy SEAL commandos and help them get out. Both special forces teams decide to start the attack after 20 minutes. At this time, the special warships release a large Eagle drone. This is also modern special equipment of the US military. Meanwhile, the terrorists are torturing the female agent. The commander hears a frightened voice under pressure. He immediately decides to begin action. Their roles were clear. No one wasted time. Several commandos swam underwater and secretly reached the shore, and the sniper was monitoring and providing support from behind. And after that begins the real battle. One commando raises his hand out of the water. The sniper pulls the trigger without hesitation. Not even a sound alerts the guard. This is the long-range strike strategy of the Special Forces team. Immediately after that, the sniper eliminates the second guard as well. The Special Forces commandos from underwater immediately climb onto the shore. At this moment, the drone reports that the enemy is ahead. After that, the commandos move straight forward and completely eliminate the surrounding threats. Then they pass through the barbed wire fence and enter the target area to begin the search. But the terrorists behind the wall spot them. The room the commandos enter is empty. When they try to fall back, bullets from outside attack them. The fight officially begins. Drone surveillance reveals that there are 2 enemies at the door. The sniper does not need to fire many shots to hit the target. The special forces inside the house immediately respond. They launch a heavy counterattack on the terrorists. Hidden in the crowd, where could these thugs stand against them? The field directly turns into a massacre. After confirming identity, several people immediately push the female agent into an armored vehicle. At that very moment, the teammates learn through the drone that a large number of enemies are blocking the road. They must immediately reach the extraction point, but as soon as they come out, the terrorists surround them. Both sides immediately open fire. The enemy is chasing very fast, but they had already missed 2 extraction points. Now they can only run toward the last assault location, and this is also their last chance. At the same time, the teammates outside receive the message and take out an RPG rocket launcher and wait at the necessary route. Then 2 people climb onto the armored vehicle and rush toward the final extraction point. Suddenly, the terrorists chase again. Even more aggressive than the first attack, they had firmly decided to die. They had to take back the CIA female agent. In the crossfire from both sides, the armored vehicle falls into the river. When the terrorists give chase, 2 2G special warships arrive immediately with flashing light. The special warships are equipped with super high-speed machine guns and fire thousands of rounds per minute. The heavy gunfire directly pierces the enemy's armor. In front of such powerful firepower, the terrorists cannot even raise their heads. Every bullet could end them. The Navy SEAL commandos board the special warships with the wounded and the hostage. Until they completely disappear, the terrorists cannot even raise their heads. The special warships reach the extraction point for the first time. 2 support special war transport aircraft pick them up at the designated location. After that, according to the information obtained from the rescued female agent, the leader of the terrorist organization is still working together with a weapons manufacturing factory behind the scene. Their latest creation contains 500 aluminum balls inside the pack. Each ball has a phosphorus bomb. Not only can it penetrate outer coatings, but it can also continue burning even after passing through friction along the aluminum outer shell. It is said to be the most powerful personal combat weapon, and he learned it a few days ago from a local school experiment, and this is just one pack bomb. At the same time, on the sea route of Little Creek, the Navy SEAL commandos learn from the female agent that the terrorist leader is about to start bomb pack plans in America's 16 most important cities. To carry out his plan, they immediately track down Goldman, who was funding the leader. At this time, Goldman is vacationing on his yacht. In the very next moment, the SEAL commandos launch precise fire from both sea and air. The enemy's speedboat does not dare to resist and is directly eliminated on the spot by the commandos. After resolving the threat at the fastest speed, using a helicopter, they first take control of the cockpit on the yacht's frame. After confirming security, a man with a funny face comes before Goldman to answer the captain's questions. The funny-faced man asks him to reveal the terrorist special operation, but this Goldman is lying. The funny-faced man has to pull out a photo of his daughter. It is the first view of an armed drone. Seeing this, Goldman's confidence completely collapses. He says that 16 armed terrorists are going to enter the American mainland through different tunnels. Then he also reveals the armed terrorists' operational plan. Whether they succeed in stopping it depends on their development. That very evening, the Navy SEAL commandos quickly begin action. They board special war helicopters and land in the target area, and using the longest infiltration of special forces with the size of the special war team, they continuously advance inside the warehouse. Under advanced night vision equipment, the dark night shines in their eyes like daylight. But in the very next room, a woman sees the Navy SEAL commandos and starts screaming. The operation is exposed. The small team immediately prepares for battle. The startled armed terrorists come directly into the open. For a moment, the sound of bullets echoes throughout the entire warehouse because the opponents are too widely scattered. The Navy SEAL team was not able to clear the threats in the first attempt, so they told the machine gunner and the sniper to fire freely. In front of such powerful gunfire, the armed terrorists did not even get a chance to launch a counterattack. The enemies inside the warehouse were still firing with small pistols. No fighter could afford to delay. A grenade helped them. 5 eyes in the sky, meaning drones, were secretly monitoring. They were raining destruction on the armed terrorists. It was a special combined air and ground operation. At that very moment, an armed terrorist fired an RPG rocket. On this side, 2 Special Forces commandos were searching for the suicide packs. But with a sudden jolt, luckily it was a dummy rocket, otherwise the result would have been beyond imagination. Then they successfully managed to find the suicide packs. They thought the mission had been completed successfully, but headquarters assigned them another emergency task. High Command reported that another group of armed terrorists wearing suicide packs was heading toward the Mexico border. Through a secret tunnel, they would enter an American entry point. After receiving the order, they immediately boarded aerial drones and moved straight toward the target group. At the same time, the armed leader was also heading toward the Mexico border on a speedboat. His men split off toward their respective assigned targets. Of course, inside the city were the most deadly zone. The Navy SEAL team traveled day and night. By morning, they reached the US-Mexican border. The officer in charge there informed them that the secret tunnel leading toward the American mainland had been prepared by armed terrorists. It was the most dangerous place in the entire Texas area. But they did not have time to think, because once the armed leader entered the tunnel with his men and the bombs, they could not let those monsters go anywhere. The Special Forces team had to stop them before that. That is why the officer in charge disguised himself as a prostitute, and the Navy SEAL commandos hid in the back compartment of the truck. The enemy saw the unfamiliar truck as newly arrived. They immediately called headquarters to report it. The armed terrorists sensed something was wrong. They used vehicles on the road to block it, but the truck did not signal to stop even once, because a delay of even one step would have led to unimaginable consequences. The officer in charge drove the truck straight ahead. It drove directly into the headquarters of the armed terrorists. The Special Forces commandos fired heavy gunfire from the moving vehicle. The surrounding enemies were eliminated one by one as soon as they appeared. The commandos attached plastic explosives to the main door. At the same time, the armed leader heard the explosion. He immediately ordered the woman to wear a suicide pack. He ordered her and the small team to destroy themselves together. On the other side, the Navy SEAL team split into two routes. One team advanced rapidly inside the base. The other team moved forward to stop the external armed terrorists. In front of their powerful and precise gunfire, the armed terrorists suffered heavy losses within moments. Perhaps for them this was just live fire practice. The people inside the house came face to face with the armed terrorists. From the first-person perspective, the sight directly made their blood boil, and the Special Forces commandos kept pushing forward to the right under the pressure of gunfire. Any opponent who appeared even for a moment was marked with a laser and eliminated immediately. As they advanced, they encountered a woman wearing a suicide pack. She did not speak a single word and pressed the detonator button. The suicide pack fired 500 grenades filled with phosphorus bombs. Whether enemy or ally, whoever came into contact with them was instantly destroyed. Fortunately, two Special Forces commandos managed to hide in time and survive. They continued advancing inside in search of the armed leader. It was a man holding a large sample in his hand. As soon as he saw the Special Forces commandos, he was captured. With such close distance from the brave teammates, he had no chance to escape. One commando shouted and threw himself toward the door. The terrifying explosion killed him on the spot. The commandos continued the fight with grief. A series of gunfire brought the enemy back to reality. They realized that they were carrying a very heavy responsibility. They had to stop the enemy at the entry point of the secret tunnel. At this moment, the armed leader had already reached the tunnel entry point with his men and the bombs. A fierce encounter took place on both sides. The Special Forces commandos risked their lives to maintain control, but the armed leader kept throwing multiple grenades continuously. One enemy was just about to enter the tunnel. With all his strength, he threw a grenade. The last enemy wearing a suicide pack was eliminated. The armed leader saw that his plan had failed. He moved forward, about to be shot. At that crucial moment, the armed terrorists had already been surrounded. The mission was successfully completed. The small Special Forces team once again performed a miracle and succeeded in their mission. And then in the end, at the funeral of the martyred commando, the grief of his sorrowful wife and elderly mother was clearly visible on their faces. And this was just a small battle that could not even be called a war. Hopefully there will never be another war in the world again. And here, this story comes to an end.